Hello friends, today I'm going to have a little chat which I hope will especially benefit those many people who have said to me that they don't know much about music, they can't read music, but they would like to understand a little more of what is going on during the performances by jazz bands such as Tuba Skinny. So I'm going to talk about a structure of a tune, and I need to start by saying that all music is divided into bars, and for jazz purposes a bar is nearly always 4 beats, so 1 2 3 4 2 2 3 4. If you count like that as you're listening to the tune, you're going through bars. Now it happens that a phrase made up of 4 bars seems to feel very natural to human beings. I don't know why, whether it's to do with the rhythm of heartbeats or of walking or whatever, but tunes do break down very easily into groups of 4 bars, and nearly all the tunes that our jazz bands play are made up of multiples of 4 bars. So they will be 8-bar tunes or 12-bar tunes such as the blues, or perhaps 16-bar tunes or 32-bar tunes. Nearly always you see multiples of 4. Exceptions are extremely rare. So today I'd like to talk about one of those resulting structures, and that is the 32-bar tune. Now there are 2 ways in which you can make a 32-bar structure. Now consider that my fingers, each one represents 8 bars. Now you could have a tune that lasts for 16 bars, so that's 8 plus 8, and then you more or less repeat it in the second half, and that is called sort of 16 plus 16 to make up the 32. Now why bother to repeat things? Well, it's very important that the composer gets the tune into the audience's head, especially if he wants to sell his tune. So you try to put in some memorable phrase and then you make sure it gets repeated at some stage. So that's one form of the 32-bar tune, 16 plus 16. But another one that's very, very common is known as the AABA structure in 32 bars. So we start with 8 bars playing a melody, then 8 bars pretty well playing it exactly the same again, so it's really beginning to stick in the audience's head. Then just for a little contrast, we have something totally different in the middle 8, as we call it, part B if you like. That will have different chords, different melody, and then finally, to reinforce that basic melody, we play it again in the final 8 bars of the 32. So that's why we call it a 32-bar AABA structure. Now, I decided for this video I would find a tune that's not too fast and is built entirely on that structure so that we can have a look at it and see how it works. And the one I decided to go for is the one called Home. It has a subtitle, When Shadows Fall, and it was composed by, I will tell you, Peter von Steeden, Harry Clarkson and Jeff Clarkson in 1931. And they certainly found a very memorable musical phrase that they use in the opening bars. La da 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 da. You probably know it. So it's 1 2 3 4 2 2 3 4 3 2 3 4 4 2 3 4 5 da 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 6, and so on. So, and that is repeated obviously in the B, in the second part, the second 8, and again it will be repeated in the final 8. So let's just hear the first 4 bars. I'll have a go at playing them for you. So now let's listen to Tuba Skinny playing the whole of those first 8 bars, and you'll hear Shay stating that melody very, very clearly. After this, you'll notice that Shay goes on to play the second 8, and you'll also notice that the melody is almost identical to the first 8. we come on to the third 8, and this is the one where, as I told you, there has to be a contrast. And the contrast that's achieved here is a different melody, and moving on to a minor chord, we have 2 bars of B flat minor. You'll hear the minor feel to it. Da, 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 da. And they play that twice to make up the 8 bars. So very contrasting little passage before we go back to the original theme again to finish. So now we have completed 24 bars, the A section again, that's the da 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 da, and then we had the B section, da 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 da, and now we're going back to finish by playing the A section again, da 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 da. So let's hear Shay finishing it off. So Tuba Skinny have played the tune right through, all 32 bars. Now what does any jazz band do at this point? It's got to keep the thing going, so it goes back to the beginning and it plays through them again 2, 3, 4 more times, however many the band leader chooses. And while they're going through them, they can allocate various sections to different players in the band. Now, as you may have noticed, just as they got to the end of that first time of playing through, Shay leaned towards Charlie to indicate to him she wanted him to carry on playing. So he takes a solo over the first 8 bars and, in fact, the second 8 bars. And while he does so, he happens to keep fairly close to the well-known melody. And towards the end of that 8 bars, he leans across to Thomas on the saxophone and says, OK, you can take over here and play the middle 8. So Thomas has got the slightly more difficult job of playing an improvisation on those B-flat minor chords to start off with. And he takes over and he plays through that 8 bars and also the back to the theme A 8 bars as well. While Thomas is playing, notice that the others join in behind him with nice harmonising notes on the chords. So let's hear those 32 bars played by Charlie as a solo and then Thomas as a solo. What a lovely tone, by the way, Charlie produced on that trombone of his, playing out in the public street without any need of microphone or other electronic assistance. Anyway, I'd like finally to play the last time through the entire tune, and you can listen out for those 4 sections again. What happens the last time through is that Craig plays the first 2 sets of 8, that da 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 melody, for the first 16 bars as a solo, and a very lovely solo it is. It's unpretentious, keeping fairly close to the melody but doing lovely things with it. And then, as he comes to the end of his 16th bar, Shay does a big twirl of her cornet, which is her signal to tell everybody to join in, and they then go into that B section, starting with the B flat minor chords. And this is really the highlight of Shay's playing for me in this particular performance, because she does amazing things improvising on those chords. Even although the melody goes upwards, da 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 da, she's coming down from da da, and she's working round those chords really beautifully, starting high and coming down low. Anyway, that's a wonderful 8 to listen to, and then the band rounds it off again very nicely to take us through the final time of the A section to finish. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Let's just hear a complete chorus of Home.